evening, everybody. I am ProLib. With me, as always, is Miss Kitty. Good evening, Kitty. How are you?
Tired. It's been a week.
It's been a week. We're all tired. I'm tired. I was just sitting here yawning and rubbing my eyes like I'm about to start a stream and I can't even stay awake. Yeah, I'm tired. We're all fucking tired. And that's where they want us. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about tonight. Welcome to the show, everybody. We have quite a big one planned for you. No guests tonight, just the two of us. To discuss what I have teamed. I can't even talk. I'm so tired. I literally even can't talk. What I have termed the Red House. It's no longer the White House. Now it's the Red House. And all of the connotations that brings. Think about everything that's red. And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Kitty, you know, we're not at that place where we can be like, how did we get here? Because
we know. We know.
It's been beaten to death. We know how we got here as a mixture of Russia and China and Saudi and drugs and propaganda and all that good stuff. And we know what we have to do next, which is not let the bastards grind you down. How are you?
I mean, I will say I refuse to watch the inauguration, just personally. Just no. And I've decided that I'm giving myself a little bit of a grace period where I can have my existential crisis and be doomer pilled.
Right.
Like, for at least a little bit.
Right.
But then you got to get back to work because honestly, if you do take the doomer pill, then they win. And I mean, they already had a victory, but that's winning a battle. There's still the war.
Correct. So in that vein, I want to start with something that will be indicative of a lot of things that we're going to see out of this administration, because on one hand, it's awful. It's literally evil and abhorrent. And at the same time, it's funny. And it's like, Dom, how could something be evil and abhorrent and at the same time be funny? Well, I'm going to show you. So this is part of an executive order that was issued today, or maybe it was yesterday. Who knows? From the Trump White House regarding transgender people. Okay. The order says female means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the large reproductive cell. Okay. Male means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the small reproductive cell. So instead of trying to explain things that I have no business trying to explain, I'm just going to read to you exactly what was written by somebody who does know what the hell they're talking about. So let me pull that up for you here. And I will share it for you, and then we'll discuss this. Let me share my screen.
It completely ignores the fact that intersex people exist.
Just in a second. And it's just in a second. Because, okay. This is Dr. Mike Weiser. Oogenesis in humans typically starts 8 to 20 weeks post-implantation. Spermatogenesis, I looked it up, it's spermatogenesis, in humans typically starts at puberty. So technically, that executive order defines us all as asexual neuter. Hope that helps. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. The genderless future that many of our non-binary friends, including the one virtually seated next to me, always wished for, has arrived. Gender has been eradicated fully.
We won. The trans agenda. We won.
The trans people won. And Kitty, I wanted to start with just congratulating you. Thank you. Your amazing community of people.
It's been a long time coming.
It has been a long time coming. And I just, speech, just please, if you could.
Oh, gods. I had nothing prepared. Like, I wasn't expecting this. I thought it would take a few more years. At the very least, we'd have to be at least halfway to, like, a Star Trek utopia before we got here. But we're here. It's amazing. It's brilliant.
It really is great. And The other thing that they did was give fetuses. By the way, before you doom too much about this, none of these executive orders means a fucking thing. By the way, I could issue an executive order right now that says that Franklin, my dog, is responsible for all the bad weather in Louisiana today, and would have the exact same weight as any of these pieces of paper that the old man signed yesterday and today. Okay, none of them mean anything. What they mean is that this administration is evil and abhorrent, and they want to hurt people. That's what
it also
they want to
means
use.
that they're dumb.
They want to use the rule of law to harm people they disagree with. That's what it means. That's the topic tonight, and we all knew this. It's more just discussing it, I guess. But they also gave fetal personhood, which means if I impregnated somebody, I would be then responsible for child support payments, I guess, at conception. By the way, I don't know if you all know this, but there is actually, it's lesser now than it used to be, but there's actually debate as to what conception means, because, like, is conception at the moment that a sperm penetrates an ova? Is it at the moment of... Right. Is it some people, and this is a lot less now. This isn't as widely as accepted as it used to be, was that it was when the fetus embedded in the uterine wall was conception. That was a thing for a long time. That's not really widely accepted anymore. But there's still debate as to what even medically that means, which means some judge is going to have to rule on it somewhere as to what the moment of conception is, because when you're giving fetal personhood, and I know this, I'm licensed to sell insurance. Like, I sell insurance for a living. It's one of the things I do is life insurance. I don't do like PNC, but what's going to happen is that somebody, okay, I don't want to get too complicated here, but I can right now, if you have a child, right? If your child is, usually it's about 11 to 21 days old. It depends on the carrier. I can write you an insurance policy on that child's life, right? And it can be used for a lot of things. As you're investing into it, it can be used to save for college, or even start a retirement fund for them when they're just a few days old, a few weeks old, right? Well, there's going to be somebody that wants to do it as soon as that fetus is declared a person. And then you're going to have a bunch of lawyers in a courtroom deciding what the moment of conception is. That is going to happen if this, and again, these aren't laws. This is just an executive action.
Non-viable pregnancies, or miscarriages. Like,
Sure.
It's going to be a clusterfuck. It's going to be an absolute cluster.
And that's a thing I was talking to with another agent. Because of the work I do, I have both life and health insurance. I don't sell health insurance policies. I sell some other policies that you have to have a health insurance policy for, but it's all tangential to life insurance and retirement and everything. But I was talking to another agent 6-8 months ago now. And what she does is she does specifically like group benefits for like employers. Like, she's the person that comes in to your employers, like, yeah, you should, I'll set you all up with this carrier and everybody will be under that. Right. And she was talking about, one of the things they're scared of is that if a pregnant person is insured and they have a miscarriage, they lose the fetus. Well, is it a naturally occurring miscarriage? Or is it due to some fault of the hospital system? Is it due to some fault of the person? And like, these legal battles are going to happen. And they're going to be big and they're going to be messy. And all of these executive actions, if they actually turn into like legal precedent, which is unlikely, granted, but if they do, you're talking about huge fucking messes. Huge messes. And no one has any idea in the industry how they're going to be dealt with.
Like, before Cheeto Palpatine got reelected, we were having a conversation about how, hey, one thing that might curb gun violence in schools is if people en masse started taking out life insurance policies for their K through 12 kids, because the only thing powerful enough to fight the gun lobby would be the insurance lobby. But this is going to cause just an entire, and granted, I am no fan of insurance, just
Sure.
in
Hey,
general.
I don't like my own industry half the time. Okay,
So
so
just,
absolutely.
full disclosure.
Full disclosure,
But,
I agree with you.
but like when it comes down to it, it's like I was like, hey, maybe we can apply pressure on that angle, because I saw a lot of K-12 parents saying, look, maybe we should start taking out life insurance policies for our children, you know, in the event of these kinds of incidents. And
Right.
that might actually help. And I think I was talking to Ben about that a little bit a while back, because I was like, the insurance lobby is huge. It's very, very, very powerful.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Um,
massive.
so just the thought of the chaos of the insurance lobby going up against these like pro-lifers, well, they're not pro-life, the pro-birther, forced
Right.
birth, anti-AFAB, like anti-birthing person, however you want to put it, like it's gonna be fucking hilarious. I'm sorry, but it's gonna be so fucking funny
Well,
watching that fight. It's
and
gonna be
Mike,
awful, but
and what
funny.
and exact 100%. And Mike, what Mike brings up is kind of what I wanted to get into tonight. They have to choose between God and corporate profit,
And corporate
because
profit kind of is their god. Really, God is only God to
they've
them.
replaced it. I mean, I wrote this thing on Blue Sky a little while ago about Elon's Roman salute yesterday. Roman salute. We're on
Uh-huh.
YouTube, okay? Roman salute, because I'm only because we're go to Blue Sky and see what I really call it, okay? Roman salute. Elon did his Roman salute, and the GOP's like, oh, he's just showing everybody love. And then a bishop's like, hey, Trump, you should show everybody love. And they're all like, oh, we need to deport her. And so like, they will pervert things that are abhorrent and evil into signs of love, and then real love, real compassion, real empathy gets perverted into evil somehow. It's evil to show people empathy.
Yeah, and it's just it's wild, because for the longest time, you did have people that were genuinely, the religious right. And in the voter base, I'm not counting that. I'm talking the people in power. You actually did have people that it was genuine. Um, Rin, I'll tell you about it later. Also, good to see you, babe. Mwah. Love you, baby. Okay. Anyways, so
I'm going to
yeah,
guess
like
yes, by the way, but go ahead.
for the longest time, they had their religion and it was genuine. But as you have seen, like the corporate takeover of our government, and we've shifted more and more into a plutocratic oligarchy, we see that they don't there are some, like Mike Johnson, I think, is genuine in his religious beliefs, but the vast majority of the, religious right that are in power, very much God is here, sure,
Sure.
but the almighty dollar and capitalism and their corporate overlords are here.
Right.
So it's going to cause a schism, because you have the ones that they'll pay lip service to the religious right and their voting bloc because they need them to win, because their ideas aren't popular and they suck at governing. So they have to throw red meat to the base of like pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, pro-free speech and freedom of religion, even though it's not actually. But that's a whole other can of
Whole
worms.
other story. Whole other can of
Yeah.
worms.
So like they have to keep throwing this red meat to the base, along with a healthy dollop of, propaganda of every time there's an election, all of a sudden there's a caravan coming. All of a sudden it's a problem that we're getting a lot of like fentanyl caught at the border. It's like, yeah, but
Right.
it's being caught. It's not getting in. They're catching it. Like
Right.
if they're catching it, that's the good thing, not a bad thing. But they point to it like it's proof that there's a failure. It's like serial killers. There are serial killers out there that you've never heard of because they were actually good and didn't get caught. The ones that
Sure.
got caught are the ones that failed.
Right.
So it's like if they're catching people coming in, if they're catching, undesirables like terrorists and stuff, if they're catching, drug smugglers coming in, they're stopping them. Like, I
Right.
don't understand how you can tell somebody, oh yeah, they stopped all these drugs at the border. And then that gets twisted into, oh my God, there's a drug crisis at the border. It's like, but it's not a crisis if they stopped it. Like,
Well,
it's
and
get in.
I think a big part of it is confirmation bias, right? If I tell you that there's a drug crisis at the border, hey, there's a drug crisis at the border. There's a drug crisis, and I just say it over and over again. And you're like, okay, what's the drug crisis at the border? Well, they caught a bunch of drugs at the border. That proves it. There's a drug crisis at the border, and you want to believe that you need to participate in that worldview as part of your social circle, right? Because one of the things that I cannot remember, and I guess I could look. I do not remember any time in the last 5 or 6 years when I encountered somebody on the internet who was openly MAGA who was nice. When's the last time that you encountered somebody on the internet who was like, I'm MAGA, has a MAGA hat in their PFP, who was nice, who was pleasant, who showed compassion or empathy? I mean, I was thinking about this today. I don't remember.
I honestly can't remember.
Well, not only that, they're not that way to each other. They
No.
celebrate being mean and angry, and the meaner and angrier they can be, the more accepted they are within their social circle, right? And so they'll send us death threats. They call, I've been called every slur. Like at this point, it doesn't even register anymore when somebody calls me horrific slurs and like, dude, it's been going on for a decade. Like it's fucking like, okay, whatever. You're just another one saying the same shit that all the other ones do. But
Yeah,
I
at least
don't
get creative.
But I can't recall any time somebody from that side has been like, hey, you know what? I really respect. I mean, like I'm laughing because it's so ludicrous. I really respect that you have an opinion that's different than mine. Here's why I believe what I believe. What are your thoughts on that? Like, can you imagine somebody who has a MAGA in their PFP saying those words?
No, I really can't.
It's just attack, destroy, destroy, destroy.
And like they're eating their own too. They're attacking and destroying their own. Like at first it started with the minorities that voted MAGA, where as soon as he won, all of a sudden they weren't needed anymore. And I saw a TikTok of this, he was a black MAGA guy, and he was like devastated when they were calling him the N-word and saying, you're not welcome here. You'll never be part of the crew. You're not one of us. And he's like, but like I see you guys as brothers. Like we're MAGA. It broke my heart in a way because, well, yeah, he voted to fuck us all over,
Sure.
But just there was something about it. Like he seemed actually genuinely hurt,
right?
And like it completely blindsided him that no, these people actually are racists. And, not all of them, obviously. It's the rectangle square thing, not all MAGA are racist, but all the racists tend to seem to be in MAGA.
Right. I don't know of any open racists that aren't. How about that?
I really can't think of any, unless, wait, didn't David Duke, like, he like supported Trump for a while and then he like backpedaled on that. So that might be.
There has been some of that, I guess. So that's a good point, but those
I'll
are few and far between.
Yeah.
And I guarantee when he goes into the voting booth, he's still voting for Trump.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely. But I'm just, I try to be precise with my language. I try not with too broad of a brush.
Of course.
So, but yeah, for the most part. And I don't know, that one really made me sad, and I don't know why, because like for the most part, I've written off MAGA. Like I don't really have empathy for them anymore because they did this to us, and my people are going to be some of the ones that suffer the most.
Absolutely, already have.
But still, I guess as a broad rule, I don't have empathy for MAGA, but there was just something in what he had said that it did actually like give me a little twinge of, like sympathy,
Well,
empathy.
I think on a broad scale, always will, because I have empathy for people. It's one of the reasons why I do what I do for a living. I'm going to toot my own horn for a second. There's a lot of people out there that'll like do the same things that I do for people, but will charge. Like I do free income planning. The first meeting that I do with everybody is completely free, right? And I'll do an income plan for you and set everything up and tell you what you should get, right? One of the things I'm really getting into lately is helping federal workers, like people like VA nurses, post office workers, former military. When they retire, there's decisions that have to be made. They have to make the decisions whether I help them or somebody else helps them, right? They're like, you have to turn the savings that you have into income for retirement. And there are people that charge for that. And I work with a brokerage that doesn't. That's not what we charge for. We make our commissions when everything's done later on down the line. It's not a big deal. And so like, I think the reason that I get something out of it, because I could go work at a different brokerage that had different rules. Like I could tomorrow decide to charge for all this stuff, right? Because I just have this thing in me that's like, I just feel like that should be free. And like the book that you have to fill out when you retire from, a federal job, you shouldn't be charged for that. Somebody should sit down and help you do that. And there are firms that charge, but ours just doesn't. Like that's just not something that we do. And I think that speaks to me because I am just generally a person that has a low level of empathy for everyone generally, right? I just believe like the Social Security policies that Trump's trying to get rid of, the lower, not Social Security, I'm sorry, Medicare and Medicaid. I'm telling you, I'm tired. Medicare and Medicaid drug prices that the executive order he issued that probably won't do anything. That'll get rid of the drug price reductions, which is part of the Inflation Reduction Act. And so the executive order probably won't do anything, but he still issued the executive order. Well, I don't want that I want drug prices to be low for everybody, even people who hate me, even people who would come here and call me all kinds of different names and slurs and wish harm on me and my family. I want your drug prescription prices to be lower too. I want your egg prices to be lower too, even if you hate me. That's just how I am, because that's the person that I think my parents wanted me to be.
And this is why we like you.
Well, but sure, but I couldn't be the other way. Like I couldn't sleep at night if I was the other way. I think that's part of my social circle. That's how I grew up, right? Like my dad, I was going to bring this up last week, but I didn't. My dad used to get Christmas cards from the Bush White House because of the position that my father was working at the time. He at times, interacted at the national level because he worked for a national nonprofit. And he at times would interact with politicians at the federal level. And somehow he ended up on the Bush Christmas card list. And so he would get Christmas cards from the Bush White House, a president that, he didn't like very much. Even though I do believe he went to the Bush White House twice for different events. And I would always laugh at him every year whenever he would get his Bush Christmas card. It made me laugh that my dad was getting a Christmas card from George W. Bush. But at the same time, he would say, well, the work I do is for everybody. Like the work, like he didn't go to a nonprofit that only helped Democrats. Right? He didn't work at when you work in the nonprofit space, and I ended up working in the nonprofit space, inspired by him. I mean, there were times when our work, coalesced, but not always. And he always used to say, like, our work is for everyone. When a disaster happens, when, at the women's shelter, when you knock on the front door, they don't ask you if you're a Republican or a Democrat. They just say, come on in. At the food bank, they don't, see if you've got your woke card to come in and get, some food when you need it.
Right.
Because everyone deserves to have what they need to get from day to day. And that kind of empathy is seen. I wrote about this on Substack the other day, but that kind of empathy is seen in MAGA as dangerous. Because if you have empathy for other people, then MAGA's policies don't make any sense anymore.
Not to mention the fact that if you have empathy, then you're not as easily swayed by hateful rhetoric.
Right.
Because you humanize people when you have empathy.
Yeah, right. You have to dehumanize
Corpus
your enemy.
made a good point that I agree with. Empathy for MAGA. Yes, you can have empathy for MAGA, but no sympathy. And that's a good way.
Right. Absolutely. And that's where I wanted to get Porpoise. I'm glad you brought that up, because I can have all of this empathy for MAGA and all the things that I believe, and I can still post on Blue Sky, hey, by the way, carton of 18 eggs is $9.09 at the grocery store right now. So how did voting for lower egg prices work out for you?
But egg prices, but her emails. It's like all the things that they use to get them to vote for the people that have the Republicans have no desire to actually effectively govern. All they want to do is loot the treasury and give it all to the wealthy and corporations.
Sure.
And yeah, they'll do policies, that they think will help them. Most of the Republicans in power, I have a theory. Their pro-life, pro-birth stance, honestly has nothing to do with their religion and everything to do with they want more babies that can grow up to be, low-wage workers to keep feeding into the meat grinder of capitalism.
Not only that, it's about plundering everything they can when they can. Right now, they want to plunder everything. One of the big ways you're seeing that is all of the launches of the crypto coins. We now have a Trump one, a Melania one, a Barron one, and I think a Tiffany one. So on that note, I have a really big announcement. I am not a fan of crypto. You know this, correct? I've said before, don't ever invest in crypto. Crypto's dangerous, and crypto is a way to send your savings to terrorists, criminals, scammers, that sort of thing. I'd like to announce Ethical Coin. Ethical Coin is the crypto coin that I started today. Now, Ethical Coin is different because it's totally ethical. Okay.
Do I need to drive over there? Are you okay?
I really did start Ethical Coin today. Do not put any of your money in it. I swear to God you shouldn't. Please do not put any of your money in Ethical Coin. If you do, I will do everything I can to give you your money back. Okay, I really did this for an example because I wanted to show you something. Okay, now you can go onto this. It's called pump.fun. You can go start your own crypto coin. And I encourage everyone to start crypto coins right now because just flood the entire market with crypto coins and just dilute the value of everything. I think that's a great, go start 100. Anyway, if you were to invest in this right now, do not give me any money. I swear to God, I will just give it to like Planned Parenthood or something if you do. I could manipulate it and take your money from you. Because what a lot of these people do is they'll start a crypto coin and they'll put $1 million into it, okay? I would invest right now through this is Solera, which is a type of crypto coin, and I would invest into ethical coin. An ethical coin at that point would be I don't know how many coins there are. I forget. I looked and I forget. There's 20,000 or so. I don't know what it is. Anyway, each one of those coins would be worth then a dollar amount. It's not even that. It's like there's like a billion or something. Anyway, be worth some fraction of a penny. And then all of you don't do this. All of you would then invest in ethical coin, which would make the pool bigger, which would make each individual coin worth more, right?
But so if he owns 90% of the coins,
that's what we're getting to. So if I own 90% and I sell off 50% of it, well, I just got all of my money back, plus some profit, and yet all of the money that you've put into it is what's holding it up because I just took all of my money out. Now, the only way that someone could do that seriously, we're on different sides. We switched sides. It's pretty, I didn't mean to do that. It's fine.
It's okay.
It's fine. The only reason anyone would do that is because they don't give a fuck about you.
I can go both ways.
There is no reason to ever put your money into crypto, ever. For fun, I guess, but still don't do it because there are people that are...
and playing slot machines, honestly.
Like, go, at least if you go buy lottery tickets, some of the money goes to your local, or, well, to your state level education system. Do that instead.
Yeah.
Or just go put it into like a high yield savings account, or go buy an IUL or an annuity or something. Go invest into that. Go invest into your retirement savings. That would be a lot smarter. And you still get to, you can index it against the markets. You can still get that gambling, feel off of it and everything. And you're saving for your retirement. It's a way smarter idea than buying ethical coin on pump.fun. Okay. Which you definitely do not do it.
Invest in the retirement is up here, you know, and like other things that Dom said that would be the more responsible thing.
High yield savings account, CDs.
Getting like a lottery ticket or going to Vegas is like down here. Way the fuck here on the floor is where crypto is.
It's not even in the room.
It's in hell. The bar is in hell. It's not in the room.
Can I just, for a second, can we get ethical coin back up here? I'm sorry. I just for 1 second. I am so proud of this logo. Like, can we, all right,
it is cute.
I spent, cute. No, but like, seriously, I spent over like 5 minutes in Canva, okay?
It's cute.
And I mean, look how happy that robot is and the little boy is. I mean, obviously, this is a coin made by an ethical person. This is not some joke, all right? This is not just, it is a joke. I'm sorry. No, it's just a joke. Don't. It's a great logo, though.
It is
right.
Cute. It is very cute.
Thank you.
I am proud of you. Well done.
I said, like the way the little hearts, like the way. Hold on, let me put this back.
And the little money coin.
The way the little hearts. No. Like this part, like the heart. Let me get the right. Why isn't go up here? What are you doing? Go over and be there. Thank you. The way the hearts have like even padding on either side of the coin. That took me to, like, I had to get lines out and like make sure that line was correct and the padding was equal on both sides. And then I had to find the little boy, I had to find the robot, then the background with the very nice field or something, whatever that is. Okay, there was work put into this. You're laughing.
You did well.
Thank you.
Head pats.
Thank you. Don't put your money in crypto.
Don't do it.
It's really stupid. It's just,
like,
please don't do it.
Somebody that you watch online, like that would be a better investment than crypto. Like literally anything. Absolutely anything.
You can give Franklin snacks. He likes buffalo horns, cheese, apples. He likes apple snacks. There's these freeze-dried apples. Or not freeze-dried. They're not freeze-dried. They're dehydrated, so it's crunchy. Because the dehydrated apples get stuck in his teeth. That's not the ones you're supposed to give dogs. They're like dried or something. It's not dehydrated. Anyway, he loves those.
But yeah, do something smart with your money. Don't invest in crypto.
Please do not invest in crypto.
Ever.
Please don't do that. Just don't. It's a terrible, terrible idea. All right, let's talk about executive actions.
Yes. I will give everybody head pats. Yes, head pats.
Everybody can have head pats. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You all get head pats and scritches.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Yeah, mad computer scientist. In Pennsylvania, the lottery money goes to programs that benefit senior citizens. Absolutely. I'd much rather see you do that if you have a gambling bug that needs to be satisfied.
You want to just, gamble
much rather see you do that than,
obviously.
Absolutely.
But
okay, here is the problem. I'm going to try to illustrate you the problem with talking about these executive orders from Trump. I was trying to explain it on Blue Sky, and I finally had to stop and was like, listen, we're going to have to talk about it on the show, because it's too convoluted to explain through 300 characters of text. I would need like 20 posts. Okay, can you stop? Okay, I'm talking. I'm on the show. Okay, these are all the executive actions just from January 20th. Okay, there are 5 pages of them. This is what I'm talking about. It's a gish gallop.
And some of them have to do with things that don't really matter anymore, like COVID stuff.
Here's the other thing, okay? So we go down into initial rescission of harmful executive orders and actions, and a bunch of them are just rescissions of all of these different executive orders, right? So let's look for Medicaid. There we go. So the overall executive action that we're looking at, one of the things that it did was getting rid of this executive action, Executive Order 14009. Well, when we search for it, and we pull it up on the White House website, it's gone. The original White House website, it is no longer on the website. Like I have to switch this. Hold on. Oh, I hate how it makes me do this. Okay. So when I go look for it, here we go. This is the website that I get from whitehouse.gov. This is this is what we find. Page not found. The original right here in the bar, which you can't see because it's not. But executive order on continuing to strengthen Americans' access to affordable quality health coverage was the title of the original executive action. It is not on the White House website anymore. It can still be found. It can still be found on the Federal Register. So I will now pull that up for you, which I have to like exit the whole thing and like redo the whole thing. So it takes a second.
So they don't want. I mean, obviously a lot of people aren't going to look this stuff up, but they don't want people to be able to actually read what they're undoing.
Correct. So this is the original executive action signed by President Biden. What Trump did was he just rescinded every executive action that Biden ever signed. All of them. All of them have been erased. Every single one, regardless of what it was and what it said, it was just all of them. It was just pull everything out and burn it. And like Kitty said, a lot of this is like Native American persons are more likely to be uninsured, and communities of color have been especially hard hit by COVID-19 and the economic downturn. Like, it didn't matter. None of this would matter. Like, you didn't need to rescind it.
Like anymore. COVID testing sites. Like, I don't think there are any even open anymore, but there were executive actions that were rescinded in the list that you sent me, Doc, that had to do with like COVID testing. And it's like, nobody's testing for COVID anymore. I mean, you can buy them at the store, but like there aren't testing sites. It's a moot point. Right.
And they just undid all of them for no real reason. The other thing to remember is that executive actions, which we can get into a whole conversation probably on a different stream because we're already 45 minutes in. My personal feeling is that I've never really liked them. There was a big conversation when Obama was elected because President Bush used a lot of executive orders. Up until that time, it had been more than any other president. And then Obama ended up doing more than he did because Obama then got a Republican Congress. Anyway, let me explain. What Bush and Obama used mostly were called, something statement. Now I can't remember the word. Anyway, what it said was when a bill was passed, when a new law was passed, the president would attach a note that said, here's how I'm interpreting this law. So if Congress says, hey, we're appropriating $1 billion for new infrastructure, right? The president could say, okay, well, I'm issuing an executive action to my cabinet and saying this $1 billion of infrastructure, well, some portion of it will go towards rebuilding after this disaster. And some portion of it will go over here for, training new, a whole bunch of coal miners are out of work. And so we're going to use some of it to retrain them to, learn these other jobs. There were ways to interpreting. Is it interpretive statements? Anyway, I forget what the title is.
I
think it's interpretive statements. Anyway, and so Obama, when he was running for president, said, hey, there's been too many of these executive actions by Bush. If you elect me, I'm not going to use them. And that was a big campaign promise that he made at the time, and a lot of us were very happy about it. And then it turned out that they were really useful when you've got a Congress that is passing legislation that is anathema to your agenda, because then you can reinterpret what they passed or choose to interpret in certain ways so that you can still get parts of your agenda through in certain forms. Anyway, I don't know if you know this or not, but legislation is extremely complicated. My point is, Obama used a lot of them. And then when Trump became president, Trump used a lot of them. And then Biden used a lot of them. And now Trump is apparently going to use a lot of them. They are not...
Technically, he's already matched Biden. If he undid all of Biden's, those are...
that's kind of true. He did it... He did like one big one that just kind of undid a bunch. So I don't know. However you count them. Here's the other thing to keep in mind about executive actions, though. They aren't laws. They aren't legal precedent. To my knowledge, they've never been used in a court of law to prove that like something is legal or illegal because they're not laws. They're just executive actions. The president is a CEO, essentially. He's the chief executive officer. He's the head of all of the cabinets, right? And each cabinet head is head of a department. Hegseth will be Secretary of Defense, unfortunately, but he'll be head of the Defense Department, and the president will then direct Hegseth, right? So the president, and that's to keep the president from having too much power. That's the whole reason you want a cabinet that's confirmed by Senate when your democracy is healthy. The Senate is saying, okay, we may not agree with you, but we agree that this person is competent for this job. That's the theory behind why everything is the way it is, so that the president isn't directly in charge of things, because the president, we don't have a unitary executive.
At least we're not supposed to.
We're not supposed to. In unitary executive theory, that's authoritarianism. That's the president is directly in charge of all departments of the government and directs them and makes decisions.
The president is king.
President is king. I mean, anything unitary executive would have an authoritarian at the top, whether it be despotism or fascism. I mean, all of them would have unitary executive. And the Enlightenment was anti-unitary executive. It was, we don't want that. We want self-governance. We want people in charge of themselves. We want a government that is beholden to the people, not a government that rules and directs the people, right? That is the theory of liberalism.
Unfortunately, liberalism ruined it.
Well,
because now it's, one nation of corporations for corporations.
Corporations, yeah. I mean, it's...
And all of the crap that we're dealing with now, you can make a direct tie between, the capitalist takeover of our government and the shit show we're in right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, the whole idea behind our government is that the president is supposed to be co-equal to Congress. The president's not in charge. You know how many presidents over the years have complained about how Congress won't do what they want them to. I think every president at some point has been angry.
Even my favorite.
Even your favorite, Mr. FDR himself.
Gotta bring it up somehow every stream.
Presidents are always mad. There's a quote from Thomas Jefferson, the third president, he's the third one, talking about how Congress won't listen to him and Congress won't do what he needs them to do. John Adams, the second president, fuck that. George Washington, the first president, was angry at the press during the war. He didn't like the press. Okay? So, like, presidents not liking the press has literally gone back to before we had presidents, when our first president was mad at the press during the Revolutionary War.
You mean the Congress?
No, I'm talking about the press. I'm saying presidents are mad at both Congress and the press. And so this whole idea under Trump that, like, oh, well, the press should only do what I want them to do and the Congress should only do what I want them to do. Well, yeah, every president we've ever had wished that all of the press and all of the Congress would just do what the president wanted them to do. There's a great moment from LBJ where he's talking to, I think, his Secretary of Defense, I think it was Robert McNamara, about the press and how the press just won't leave them alone. And why won't the press just leave them alone and let them kill people in Vietnam? I mean, I don't think he used exactly that word, but...
And, like, the sad thing is we're probably the closest now because the Democrats are a bunch of feckless cowards.
Right.
We, have a Republican majority, slim as it may be, and the press are a bunch of feckless fucking cowards. So, we are probably the closest in our nation's history to essentially everyone just glazing the president and doing what he wants.
Well, when you think about it, he's got Fox News. Mm-hmm. He's got X. He's got Meta, which is Facebook, Instagram, and Threads.
OAN,
Newsmax, and now basically TikTok. I've seen a lot of people saying that there's a lot of Trump criticism that's getting removed on TikTok. I don't know. I haven't posted anything on TikTok in a while. I mean, I know my views fell through the floor, and so I got disinterested when I posted like 4 videos, and I think altogether they got like 8 views, and I was like, well, obviously TikTok doesn't like me very much, which they had been getting hundreds and thousands of views, by the way. It was like my TikTok channel had been huge, and then suddenly it just, I don't know. This was just after the election or right around the election. So anyway.
Oh, the pending ban, everyone's basically just bending over to lick the boot. And it is really disheartening, the fact that you can, go on. So many of my trans friends are done with Meta. They are leaving Instagram. They're leaving Facebook because they basically made hate speech fine if it's against trans people
and women. Yeah.
And it's just really disheartening. For me personally, I don't use the platforms that often, and there are some people it's the only way I can really keep in touch with them.
Yeah.
Also, I'm spiteful and a little bit petty, so it's like, no, I'm not going to be forced off of this. I won't post, but I'm not going to be forced to leave. Like,
well, there's one of the big problems, one of the big discussions I'm having with some of my colleagues, basically anyone who holds licenses like I do, who's independent. I'm a small business owner. Now, the business I own has an employee of 1, right? I mean, it's just me, but I'm a small business owner. And there's a lot of people in my space that the way they get clients are Facebook and YouTube ads. They make a YouTube video, or they make a video on Facebook and put it on YouTube, whatever, talking about, hey, if you want to talk about retirement, I'm the person to talk to, and, it'll be a 5-10 minute video. And then they pay money to Facebook and YouTube to promote the video and get clients. I mean, that's how 90% of the people in my space get their business.
Oh, MySpace. I miss MySpace.
I know. I miss MySpace too. And so now they've got a conundrum. Like, well, I don't want to support fascism, but if I stop doing this, how will I get clients? How do I talk to people? Now, thankfully, I'm not in that, that's not how I get my clients. I have a pipeline. But most people don't. And I built mine up over time. It wasn't, somebody starting today, like if you were like, yeah, Dom, I want to do what you do. And you were like, what do I do? Well, until 2 months ago was, hey, you go buy Facebook and YouTube ads. That's how you do it. And then another one of my friends was like, well, I just won't buy the ads myself. I'll just buy leads. And somebody else was like, where do you think they get the leads from? Yeah. So the money's, just because you're going to a lead service to buy your leads, you're still getting them from Facebook and TikTok and YouTube. So, and lots of small businesses operate that way. They'll, restaurants will make a video and put it up on YouTube and TikTok and pay for it. So I don't know a solution. I don't have another way to do it.
I can't think of one.
Right. I mean, you cut out Facebook and TikTok out of your small business advertising budget, it gets hard to keep your small business open nowadays, unless you've got an established pipeline of clients and you get referrals and, whatnot. So, that's a whole thing where there's a lot of people like, I can't, there's no way I could quit because then I don't have a business. And I totally understand those people.
Yeah, no, like I would not, again, I'm not personally leaving Meta, and
Sure.
like talking with friends that did close down their Facebook accounts. I was like, I totally understand where you're coming from,
Sure.
and I respect it. Protect your peace.
Right.
I got thick skin. If they want to call me slurs, I will just laugh in their faces. I mean, if I can handle threats of SA in my DMs, I'm pretty sure I can handle a slur here or there. So, I don't care personally for me. But,
Sure.
I would, and my friends aren't this way, but I would hope that other people that, did say no more Meta, like that they would understand why there's a legitimate reason a person might still need to engage with the platform. And
Right.
Your case in point is exactly that. And that's another thing. If all of the good people leave these platforms, then you're not going to really have all the great of clients anyway. I mean, sure, you'll still sell to like a MAGA person or
Sure.
whatever, but it's like, would they necessarily even, want, like, I love you, but I mean, you don't look like the kind of person that MAGA would want to buy insurance from.
Oh, no. I mean, most of the, where I live, there's a very strong LGBTQ community in Asheville. Everybody knows that. I'd say probably 75 to 80% of my clientele are, if not openly LGBTQ,
somewhere
they're very friendly and allies to that space. And there's plenty of people like I have plenty of clients who are open Republicans and conservatives and MAGA, and they know that I'm not, and we get along fine, and they love my advice, so it works out. But there's a lot of people in the small business space. Now, I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about restaurant owners, and I'm talking about, any small mom and pop. My God, crafters, artist commission, just people that make art. That like, if they left Facebook tomorrow, I mean, I did want to say real quick, what Mad Computer Scientist said, help Mastodon and Blue Sky become more popular. Absolutely. Like my business, I have an account on Blue Sky. I've not been using it as much as I should have. I will be using it more, but it's not localized. And especially in my space where I'm advising people on retirement, you don't want to do that with somebody you don't know. It's why I don't bother like promoting my business on Blue Sky. Like no one, oh yeah, some jackass on Blue Sky says he's going to help me save for retirement. Sure, bud. I don't know that. Like I don't bother with that. I work with 90% of people that I know face to face, or that I meet face to face at least. And so that local connection matters a lot in my business. But hey, there's a lot of people where, if you're just buying some craft on Etsy or something, you don't care where they live or where they're from or what they look like or what they represent. You just want the stuff they make.
And that's another thing. Like Etsy is a horrible platform. Like it is not good to the people that sell on there, and there are a lot of small businesses that have gotten screwed over by being on Etsy. But it has the reach. So what a lot of people will do, they
Yep.
will list on Etsy and then hope to get recurring clients. Where it's like, okay, so you found me on Etsy, but here's my card with a little
Right.
discount code to shop at my site, and hopefully get more more business.
Rin says I sneeze glitter. I'm sorry.
No, no, they're laughing at what Mary said.
No, I know, and I looked at it. I saw what Rin said.
Rin is the best. I
Rin
adore
is the
them.
best. Yeah, and that's what I meant to say. Like what I can do, and I don't. There are plenty of people who think I should. What I could do is go on Facebook and advertise to only people here in Asheville, or only advertise to people in Hendersonville, or only advertise to people in Arden, whatever I want, because Facebook and TikTok does this too, and I guess X does too. But X, I'm totally done with X. But they let you hyper localize your ads. So if you have a local restaurant, you're not, you're not
Wasting
advertising to somebody in
money
Baltimore,
advertising, yeah.
right? Like come down and get our tacos. Like it's not gonna, that's not gonna work,
Nope. Nope.
right? But and that I'm for small businesses that they're like me and I work locally. I mean, I'm licensed in a bunch of different states. I'm licensed in like 24 different states or something, because I have some clients that I meet sometimes online, and I do end up helping them, and I get licensed in their states that I can. But that's rare. That happens like twice a year. Most of my clients live within a few miles of me, know me, have met me face to face, and want me to help them with whatever they want me to help them with. So I understand the people that are like, I have to be hyper local with my business, and the only way I can find new clients is through meta platforms. I 100% recognize that, and I support that. Small businesses are very, very healthy for the middle class, and I want a healthy middle class, because the more healthy middle class, bigger middle class that we have, the healthier it is, the more clients I have. So it
And
beholdens me to
also
have
just the better everyone is doing.
the better everybody
Rising
is doing.
tide,
Sure.
raises all ships and all that.
Right. Like if somebody's like, oh, I don't plan on ever retiring. Well, I don't have any, they aren't a good client for me. Right. I mean, that's my goal is to.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna work until I drop. It's like,
Yeah, I'm
that
like,
is
okay,
very
well,
unfortunate.
Right. It's unfortunate. Hey, if you want to change that, we can talk. But if somebody doesn't plan to retire, we don't really have a lot to discuss, So I want a strong middle class with people that have money that are looking to retire and set up retirement goals and put together retirement savings, because that's literally what I do for a living. But at the same time, I understand that people are like, I can't be on Meta anymore because I can't take it. I get both sides equally.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm in the same boat. It's like if you can't be on there, because you're one of the people that are going to be the most impacted by these changes, protect your peace. If you don't want to be on there because you don't want to support a platform that is doing these changes and hurting those minority communities, again, go for it. Like, protect your peace. If you feel the need to still be on there, again, like, I'm not going to judge anybody for what they do, And this comes down to like a core issue, and it's why monopolies are so dangerous. We have so few options available now for reach. Like, so much of the World Wide Web has been blocked off into these little chunks, and they're
Yeah.
all owned by just a handful of companies. And if those companies are afraid of retribution from the government, they're going to bend the knee, because the almighty dollar and profit matters more than integrity.
And you know what? That's where we're going to leave it, because that is an absolutely outstanding closing statement, my friend. That is exactly where we're going to leave it. I could not have said that better myself in a million years. That was brilliantly stated. Everyone, we'll be back next week with something. I don't know what. We'll
figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Listen, I guarantee there's going to be plenty of fucking shit happening between now and next Tuesday. We're going to have stuff to talk about. Okay.
Hey, the next 2 shows, I'll be looking different. So next week, I'll have my roots touched up, so I won't have to worry about this bugging the crap out of me. And then the following week, my hair is going to look like fire. Like literal fire. And I am so excited.
Well, you heard it here first. Kitty's going to light her hair on fire. All right, guys.
I mean, hey, it feels like it, considering the incoming administration, we're all feeling like our hair on fire.
Anyway. I love you guys. Thank you for watching.